Good evening, everyone. I'm here broadcasting from the main gymnasium at the Meadows School this evening. I am here accompanied by our very talented Human Performance Director, Mr. Charles Sams. And as we await the attendees to join, I just want to say thank you for being here this evening, and we're looking forward to having a really exciting conversation, present some questions and to take all your questions about our program. So let's give it another few seconds and then we will begin. Say hello, Mr. Sams, while we're at it.
Hello, everyone. Very nice to see everybody here on this nice evening. I want to thank everybody for coming out, taking the time to uh, learn about our athletics program and all the wonderful things we're doing here at the Meadows School. What we're doing is quite unique, and I'm very excited to be able to share that with you guys tonight.
So Mr. Sams and I are actually both in the gymnasium together on the opposite ends, actually on the opposing free throw lines. So you get a little glimpse of our facility and um, get a sense of some of the banners that lie behind us and give you a little taste of the tradition of excellence that has been here for a very long time. What I wanted to do was tell you, give you a little brief introduction to both Mr. Sams and myself as representatives of the Meadows School and the Meadows School Athletic Department. Mr. Sams and I met about just a little over a year ago. I would say almost about a year and a half ago. And I arrived here 3 years ago and was looking for something very unique for our program. Something that fit the model, the mission, and the culture of the school. And it took me the entire time that I'd been here to find that right individual who really understood what we wanted to do in such a different and unique manner. Mr. Sams came in immediately and turned the program that we were looking to build into a math formula. And as he continued to speak and as he continued to explain a vision for the human performance of our student athletes, it was very clear that this was the individual that we had to have here. So we are very fortunate to have a man of his expertise and passion and commitment as part of our team. And again, he has had instantaneous success with the student athletes that have been in the school. And really, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we want you to understand that at the core of our program is what this gentleman and his team do for us. So I want to let him give you a brief intro and then we'll get into our presentation.
All right, so just a brief background. I played basketball in college, and during my undergrad, I had the honor to be able to triple major in exercise science, psychology, and business management. From there, while I was training athletes in Texas, getting a lot of opportunity to train a lot of professional athletes, a lot of collegiate athletes, and a lot of youth athletes, I finished my master's degree and then moved to Las Vegas. Upon to move in Las Vegas, I continue to work with the top athletes here, with all but two Division I volleyball players going through my program out of Las Vegas in the past 4 years, working with all the top basketball players and having the opportunity to work with a lot of NBA players over this recent off season with everything that is going on. Next year, I will be continuing. I will be finishing my PhD, so I will become Dr. Sams. And a lot of my research is driven in the um, interdisciplinary applied sports science that I have implemented here at the Meadows School. So the program is very comprehensive. It's very development focused. It's very data driven, and we have a good time and we really get after it. So with that being said, I'll pass it back to Claude and we'll go over what we do here at the Meadows School.
And briefly, I have now been involved in interscholastic athletics for the last 25 years as an administrator, as a coach in at different independent schools, very similar to this one. Independent schools that believe in academic excellence, but excellence really in everything that you do and everything you're involved in. And I saw something very unique when I had an opportunity to visit this school a few years ago. And I saw an opportunity in a town that was looking for something different. And what we were looking to do was, and this really has been my specialty over the time, is really focusing on the development of our student athlete. Development from really from the beginning, from ground zero, all the way to the point of having the choice and the option to play at the collegiate level, at any of the divisions, or at the professional level, even beyond that. I've coached and worked with Olympic athletes. So I've had the opportunity to see over the time and to help create a model that has worked in other places. And I felt that this was going to be the next great challenge and the next place where we would create that. And in the brief time we have been here, we have seen an eruption in our athletic program, an eruption of passion and interest and a level of commitment that I don't think anyone in this community saw coming in such a quick manner. And that's why we're so excited to be here talking to you, because we bring you a proven blueprint and a level of expertise that will only benefit your student athlete coming up into our school, whether you're coming into our middle school, whether you're coming into our upper school. We have a program that is fit and will be customized to each individual student athlete eventually to work into our program as a whole. So there are a lot of things that I want to bring to the table here tonight. I have a brief presentation I want to go with you, and at the end I would love to get some questions. You know, Mr. Sams and I would love to hear any feedback, anything. But what we want to do here today is really demonstrate what differentiates our program from really any program in this state. So give me a moment, and I'm going to share the screen here with you. And so I'm going to start by just, having our philosophy and mission, which I won't read to you, but I'll give you a sense to take a look at kind of what we operate off of philosophically. But I would also like to expand a little bit as we go. Like any school, when you want to fast forward to the end, success is really important to us. Success on the field and off the field. And everything we want to do philosophically really has to merge with our incredible academic program at the school. We want to give our student athletes the opportunity to experience different things at the school, but we also want them to learn the values that you get from being an interscholastic athlete at this point in life. Because what we have learned over the time is those skills will go with you for the rest of your life. I've seen it for so long, and everything comes back to my success in life came back to the values I learned as a high school athlete and even before that. So we're here to really start from that baseline approach and go forward. So we put some questions together rather than just talking to you for that long, but we want to put questions out that, that we've been asked over the years about our program. And really the most common question that I've received in my time is, why Meadows Athletics? Why would a good student athlete attend the Meadows School? And this is an approach that I believe is really important for people that are looking to continue to grow with us and looking to come in as new student athletes. We want to be transparent. We want you to see that we really do know what we're doing. Number one, I listed it first as our human performance program. That's something that is at the core of everything that we're going to do for our student athletes. And whether they continue to play at the collegiate level or beyond, one of the objectives for us is to make sure that they take that health lifestyle on and becomes a part of their everyday life for the rest of their life, to maintain that health and understanding of taking care of themselves. But what we have seen is just by giving kids the opportunity here, we quickly ran out of space in our primary facility that we had to expand to a secondary facility because the interest was so high. And once you demonstrated that you had a team that really knew what they were doing and they saw the instantaneous effect it was having on them on just their life, it changed how everything was viewed here. We have an incredibly talented and successful coaching staff that we promote all the time. They've had experiences at other places and brought their best here. I've had incredible success here on the field and on the courts everywhere, and have really bought in and played a significant role, not only developing student athletes to play at the next level, but really guiding them and mentoring them to be successful here as students and as athletes. And they play a primary role in that human performance program in helping the team there really understand what the goals and objectives are. You know, what you hear now that's so different than, 25 years ago when we began was in terms of just the strength piece of it. And our coaches now don't want big, thick, slow athletes. They want lean, strong, quick, flexible athletes that can really move on the court and on the field. And that's what we're developing here. The student athlete development commitment is all about telling somebody, look, you don't have to have come in here and have played for years and years and years and been great. You can have just an interest, a passion, want to try something different. And that's what you'll see as an opportunity here in our program. What we will commit to you is that we're going to work everybody equally as hard and make sure they get the same opportunity on and off the court. What we have seen and what I've seen in my career is that there are kids that, and all kids, the timing of everything is so different for them. Some, might reach their physical peak very early and some later and somewhere in between. We have to figure out where that leveling off takes place for kids and continue to help them grow physically, mentally, emotionally, to be successful here. We want them to remain healthy. But the one thing that is really a differentiator between us is that we're not asking anybody to come in here and say, I'm the best at this or I'm the best at that. We'll help you get there to become the best that you can be. And that's really important. The second thing is here, we're going to compete, we're going to work people hard, but what we're not going to do is have kids come in and say, you know what, we're going to go find someone to replace you next year. Our idea is we're going to continue to develop and bring in the next group of kids the following year and continue on that pattern and have them work together on that. But we're not looking to just come in and replace. We're looking to build and build and build, so that what my experience has always been about that building process to bring consistency, sustainability through the whole program, and really a health that allows the kids to want to be a part of it and create the traditions they really want to do. Our college placement works really closely with our college counselors here at the school. And that really begins from the moment that you walk into the 9th grade, but don't think that we're not thinking about it the way some parents might be even earlier. That's what everything is about, is to help create the opportunity that when you walk into 9th grade, that these things are on our mind, that we have a blueprint. And again, you as parents and your children will have a tremendous say on how we customize each single situation, because everybody has different interests in what they want to accomplish, particularly if they want to be student athletes in college. And it's really having the connections, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to provide them the right footage and film and statistically what we keep over time, and to show them how they physically have developed with our human performance program over time. We have, for example, a young man in our program that just a year ago was playing quarterback here for our school at about 135 pounds, and about, Charles, would you say about 5'9", 5'10"? And in the time that Mr. Sams and this young man have been working together to come around for this fall to be at about approximately 170 pounds of strength and eating well and sleeping well, and the way he looks, and to be prepared because there's someone who at one point had a dream of wanting to play in college, and that dream became a reality as he has gone through our program. And I have seen that over and over and over. If you provide it, they will come through it and they will work hard for you. On that note, we do have a rigorous off-season training program that we want to talk about here that ties in with our facilities, and I'll hit in a little bit in a future slide, is our facilities are here for the kids that are coming to the school at whatever grade. When we get back to the world that we remember, this is a place that they can come anytime. We have, the personnel here that wants them here training, and we're going to talk about what that one-stop shop looks like. It's really different, and I've seen it places where people have to go to multiple sites to get what they want to accomplish. And here we're committed to making this that one site that fulfills all your needs in every area. So we're going to talk about that a little more. And again, if you've had an opportunity to tour, then you know about our really impressive facilities. If you haven't, really invite you to come and take a look. And, it would be great if we could show you them in full use. But right now you have to use your imagination to see, what the possibilities could be for your children. Another question is, does the school prioritize athletics as much as academics? Resources. And we talk about the fact that we brought in a full human performance team. Renovation of our athletic facilities, which are constantly happening. And I mentioned earlier the expansion of our fitness room. It was one of those situations that the demand required that we expand. It wasn't one of those situations say, hey, you're out of room, sorry. It was, we got to make room because this is what our kids want. We will provide that for them. Another really important thing that people really want to hear, and we talk about here, is the school spirit at our events, the traditions that have been here for over 35 years, and the level of support that has been really generated at the games. That comes from the kids and their peers, the families, and beyond the community. This is a school that really engages all its divisions to be really part of our traditions, our events, and there are themes at every one of them. And again, this is really important to motivate and inspire our kids to really want to achieve in front of their peers and their families, their teachers, and beyond. So that's a really important component for us. The Learning Lab is another unique aspect for us. This is where academics and athletics really do merge. What we have started here since last year, and we saw instantaneous results and success stories, is that we created a after-school program, and it started with our freshman athletes, that when you start here, you have an opportunity, you will be put into our Learning Lab after school before you go to practice. You have an opportunity from Monday to Thursday. Monday, for example, would be a math day. The entire math department will be waiting for you in that facility to help you go through homework, to go over tests, or just for extra help. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you look at the other departments that represent. It's a place where you can get homework done before you walk on the field. But it's a place where, again, we encourage and we want to support all of our student athletes that come in here because we want you to get off to a great start. And what we did was bring this model from the NCAA model to be able to continue that success. We have tutors in there. We have writing tutors in there in order to continue to help the kids learn how to do the things they need to do to be successful as student athletes in this school. A really important piece that kids embraced, and it showed only success as kids went on to have a tremendous freshman year. Our commitment to the teacher-coach model really is about this. What we have tried to do is make our leadership and our coaching model be people that are teachers and that are people that are here with your kids every day, all day. Those relationships are incredibly important. What we do is we don't sacrifice one or the other. We don't say just, we want a great coach but an average teacher or vice versa. We want that individual that is great at both to fit into that model and to show that level of commitment. And right now we're almost at 90% at that point between middle school and upper school where you will see that model. And we will fill in a lot of our staff with people that are independent contractors that fill with our position, but our leadership is really where everything occurs. And that's how we build our development program, which is another important piece. It's something that not everyone believes in that model, but I have only seen great things happen, and schools and student athletes excel when you have that model. Our middle school physical education program has gone through a facelift over the last probably year and a half. And the first thing we did was we wanted to connect it to our upper school athletic program. Once we analyzed very carefully the kind of skill sets, the kind of athletes, that we needed to have in order for our programs to really succeed, we went back and said, okay, we're going to start from the beginning and really implement and teach those skills. And I think what's unique about our middle school physical education program is that, again, and we'll touch upon this a little bit later, is that it's not centered around, it's not sports centric. There are sports involved, but sports is not the core of that program, right? It's really about skills, movement, flexibility, and we'll continue to talk about that. But that is part of the development process here. And the last point I make on this particular question here is the Student Athlete Advisor Committee. And again, it's another piece that, we brought from the collegiate model, from the time of being, working at a college. This is the place where the student athletes get a direct voice with the administration here. This is where they have a direct voice, and every sport, every gender, every sport is represented. And we have an upper school and we have a middle school committee. And when we get back to sports, this is where they meet every month to discuss what is happening within their teams, to discuss culture, to discuss whether it's competition, whether it's school spirit, whether it's about community service projects they want to get involved with. This is where they have an opportunity to really share their ideas and bring that to the school. But this is the place where their voices are really heard. And a lot of incredible things have come out from the recommendations of our Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And we will continue to build on that. Another question I get is about the current classification of the school, which right now we're in the 2A classification. And does that in any way hinder the growth and development of our student athletes? Interesting that, it's an interesting question. I come from a place where there are 9 classifications, where there were more schools in the county that I was in than there are in the entire state. So, I had to kind of start to figure out and appreciate how the classifications here worked and how often they're revisited and the effect that it could have in a positive or negative way. Well, as our school has continued to grow, we were at a division meeting where it was made very clear that our designation was going to change next year. So how will that affect? Well, the first thing is what we have been experiencing, the recent student athlete success, it was a clear indication that it has not in any way hindered the development of our athletes. The only thing that I think really has changed, that will change, is right now we travel a lot. We travel all over the state, which is a really interesting experience for the kids, which they love. We'll be playing a lot more games in town. But I think the thing to really recognize is that because of the program and how it's built, the competition sometimes, look, eventually you get really good competition. There may not be the depth in the league, but that's where we're moving. And that's what we're going to see. And that's what we've been preparing for, because we knew that day was coming. So right now, we knew it was not any way detrimental. Second, we have student athletes that are currently here that are young, like juniors, sophomores, and even freshmen that have already begun to receive college offers to play at very high levels going forward. That is all tied into our development program. And in the near future, yeah, we will be playing a lot more games in town, which will be maybe the biggest change of all. But what won't change is how we develop these kids. Student athletes get a chance to physically and mentally develop at a capacity not available to any other school in the state of Nevada. If you're going to highlight 1 or 2 things tonight, this is one of them. Student athletes get a chance to physically and mentally develop at a capacity not available to any other school in the state of Nevada. That's something we can sign and make a guarantee to you. that it's going to be incredibly unique. My reference earlier to the one-stop shop was really that we wanted to create everything here so that, you know, if there's a sport that you have an inclination or that's what you play, well, we don't want you to just come here and play the sport and leave. We don't want you to have to go see a trainer somewhere else. You've got the best team here in town. We want you to use these facilities as a second home to you. We want them available so that you can come in on weekends. You know, literally when we were back in this, we were a 7-day-a-week thing here. We were allowing kids to come in here and train, supervised. You know, there could be some off season, and it's really where you see its real significance in the summer, because that's really where the growth happens. It is not, I mean, you'll see growth at a slow rate in a season, and then they go to their off season, then they come back, and it's like, what just happened? They've grown, they've matured, they've understood things. So our off season program is really significant and important to us. And again, what I've been talking to a lot of parents on that I've gotten to meet, I want this to be your one-stop shop. I don't want you to have to run anywhere in town to find what you're looking for. It's really about talking to us. And if we're something else we need to do, we will figure it out, and we will figure it out together. So I mentioned the designation. So it's something that we're prepared for and we're excited about. How does the human performance middle school program enhance the overall athlete experience? Well, this is important to talk about from both ends, you know, in terms of the effect and the impact. It was important that we connected it, number one, because we're feeding into a program. So the kids that do come through here, so if you come into the 6th grade, we really are going to start you in the strength development, speed, mobility, flexibility, and agility program. It's a program that is that Mr. Sams will expand on in a few minutes, but it's something that we are completely data-driven here. So every middle school and upper school student athlete gets an individual profile. And that's how we track and monitor you over time. We will track your progression and determine where you should be at a certain date and time that fits with that individual, and not put that person in a program with someone who's more advanced or vice versa. This is something that we spent considerable time planning, talking about, developing, and now are executing it. And executing it at a really good pace to utilize those 3 years to allow the kids when they get from the 8th grade to have an opportunity to be contributors right out of the gate and not have to wait 2 more years. This is about opportunity and making sure that you have an opportunity to make a contribution or better as you are going through our program. So the data is significant. The team spends countless hours researching and analyzing that data before the school day begins on the following day, where they start again. And again, the unique thing is to look at the customized profile for each individual student athlete and say how many places have the opportunity and the team, the knowledge and the skill to be able to create such a program. So we're very fortunate, and we know that, again, this is one of the areas that really sets us apart. So with that being said, I want to pass this to my colleague, where he's going to discuss what is the Human Performance Program.
All right. So before we get into the details of what the Human Performance Program is, it's very important for me to state our mission. And our mission is this. It's simply to develop, enhance, and optimize human performance through the integration of training, nutrition, recovery, education, and leadership. One of the things I like to tell my athletes is they're an N of 1. And in research, that means that you are a statistic, but your statistic of how you perform is most important and most conducive to you. Okay? So everybody's body is essentially unique to them, their experiences, how they've grown up, what they've been exposed to. So it's very important that we educate them on that process. Even though we are highly skilled and highly educated professionals, nobody will know somebody's body more than they will. So it's very important that we teach them how to develop it. So with the training side, we touch on every portion of training that you can think of, from jump development, from throwing development, hitting development if you want to become a harder hitter in volleyball, speed, strength, agility, change of direction, everything that you can think of under the sports umbrella. We have developed it. We have data on how we developed it with countless data points and experience with hundreds, thousands for me, athletes that shows the proof of how we do this. Okay. So with the training portion, as you can see, we take that hands on. Now nutrition, we have partnered with our wonderful chef Alan here on campus, has a brilliant performance nutrition that we wanted to roll out this year that we didn't get a chance to because of our current situation. But what we'll be able to provide is not only nutrition profiles, but nutrition education and the recovery options through nutrition that they'll be able to go here on campus at our corral. It'll be highly nutritious food that's going to optimize exercise recovery, mental optimization, which is all as well data and research driven that Chef Allen has partnered with Sage that we will be combining with our human performance program. Now with the education piece, we have a portion in our science department that is unique here to our school. So we have applied sports science. So I have been doing sports science for the better part of 6 years now. And so we have a combination of being able to to chunk down and research all the data on all of our kids, all of our student athletes, and be able to have feedback and be able to have a two-way education with the students who are involved in applied sports science program and with our student athletes. So we're able to do something that's very unique and that's very on the cutting edge. So we're able to educate all of our athletes in twofold, from a research perspective and then from an application perspective, which is very important to be able to match and integrate as we move forward. And leadership, the leadership portion is being able to take full control of the direction of where you want to go as an athlete. Now, some people become a little intimidated when we say that we're very data driven, but all that means is we can take a snapshot of where a student athlete is and say, hey, this is where you would like need to go, and this is exactly how you get there. So opposed to guessing and saying, I feel like we can do this, what we have is your performance over a period of time that we'll be able to say, this is what you need to do to get better. This is how you have gotten better. And then we can create a roadmap that is particular to your situation. Now, for some that can feel a little intimidating, but to me, our health is the most important priority in our life. So if we're able to teach our children these tools at an early age, make it fun and engaging, whether they want to perform at the highest level, which we know how to develop kids to do, or if they just want to be a high functioning human being, we can teach them those tools, and we have implemented those tools. So applied sports science is just that. We're applying the science in a way that the students will be able to utilize. Now, what does that look like over the lifeline of an athlete that comes here or a student that comes here? Well, in middle school, there's no difference from our middle schoolers to our high schoolers. When they come in sixth grade, we do full assessments on them, right? We see exactly where their strength is, exactly where their speed is, and their motor competencies, which means how well can they move in all directions, single legs, hops, skips, balance, anything that you can think of, we take data on it, and then we can provide them feedback and say, hey, this is where you can get better at, all in a fun and engaging way. It's not like we have all our kids in the sports lab and we're just in a lab coat teaching them. This is all applied. So this is all happening in real time while they're participating in our activities. Okay. Now, with that being said, everything is development centered. We're not pressuring kids in a sense of, hey, you need to do this to be this. We're developing kids to be the best versions of themselves, but just showing them a concrete evidence-based way to do so, which is very unique at this level. Not only at this level, but at any level above this. I have the opportunity to consult with a lot of professional teams, and this is what they're doing. But what we can do here at our institution is provide those materials to our students at a very early age that's going to provide them with the tools to be successful athletes and successful humans and to be healthy along the way. So with that said, our human performance program encapsulates the entire spectrum of human performance. And we haven't even touched on the mental optimization piece that we talk about as well. So all aspects. So as soon as our students come on campus, we implement them, we profile them so that we can create individualized profiles so they can see how they are developing, where they're going, and what they need to do based on their individual skill sets and their individual goals, and how we plan on developing the students here at the Meadows. I'll pass it back to Claude as we move forward.
Thank you. As you can see, there's a lot of depth to this program. And one of the unique aspects about being a student athlete, and maybe just a student here at the school, is that here at the Meadows, the kids want to know why. They want to know, they want to ask somebody, why do I need to do this? And here, we have to be prepared to have that answer for them. This is a place that encourages that kind of inquiry and wants kids to have a voice. And this gentleman will just sit you down when they say, well, why do I have to do this? You may get a 1 hour response to one tiny exercise, but that is what the quality that you're going to get here. And I think that's really important. And I learned that here on day one, and I respect it. I love that about it. And I encourage them to keep asking why. And once they learn, they will go back and they will go to work for you. And that is really important here. So there's a few other little slides here. I don't know, did I lose it here? Let's see. Here we go. This is a simple one where we just kind of list out what we do offer at both levels. And you can see the majority of them do feed into each other. So that's really important for us. And there is talk about expansion of certain things, and as things grow in town. And again, that's the kind of conversation we want to hear from kids about things that, maybe the latest trends and things that might benefit them going forward. But other little questions, just to think about, that, I'll just touch upon what is it the NCAA recruitment program provide? Well, again, we talked about that one-stop shop for you. And there are a lot of companies that want you to spend a considerable amount of money to do the one thing that you need them to not do the one thing you need them to do. And again, for us, this is a differentiator for us. Companies want to say, hey, pay us this money, we'll do the work, but there will be no guarantee at the end. What we say is we will make the guarantee at the start, not at the finish. We will say you follow our plan and really follow it to a T, that guarantee will be there in that initial conversation. It takes time, it takes tremendous commitment, but that's why I said we have the expertise and the personnel between our counselors here and the amount of time we spend meeting with them, reviewing from the beginning. Those kids that come in with an interest, when we start to question, what they're interested in doing and potentially in college, we say, okay, well, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like at Division 1, 2, and 3, for example. And they all are a little different. But the point is they can start, well, I want to be a Division 1 scholarship athlete. And all of a sudden, over time, say, well, I don't know if I want to do it to that level. Maybe I'll do this. And then maybe I'll end up here. They'll end up where they want to be at the end of it because they're going to learn a lot through the experience. But my point of putting that out there for you is for you to know that we have the contacts, we have the profiles, we have the system in order from start to finish to be able to build that for you. And that's really for everyone to know, to have that to look forward to, that you won't have to wonder, well, how do I do it? We will walk you through it, we will show you how to do it, and we will communicate and be very transparent with you throughout the process. But again, at the core, is what our human performance program will provide you. Does a student athlete have to play multiple sports? This is an argument and debate's been going on for a long time. I've been on both ends of it, where multiple sports was the only way to go, and then it all shifted years later to the single sport, and then it shifted again to kind of, well, I'll do two. Look, these are choices you get to make here. You might have a primary sport that this is what you love, but you might look at something and say, yeah, but I never got to play that, and I want to be a part of that program. And maybe you develop a love for that. Now you've got two. There's so many benefits to that, and we encourage it at a very high level, but it's not something we mandate. We really want a student athlete's passion and interest and curiosity, and to see the benefits of doing the multiple sport athlete. Look, we have a student athlete in our school now. He's in 10th grade. And as a 10th grader, he's playing 3 sports. He doesn't need to play 3. He just wants to. He has a primary sport. He has college offers already at some of the best academic and collegiate programs in the country. And they're saying, look, you don't need to do that. And he says, I want to do that. That's one of the benefits of being at a school like this. Yeah, I can play that one sport every day. You can risk injury, you can risk burnout, and you can risk just the fact that you may just not want to play ever again, which I've seen. But here, he gets to take a break, be with his friends, make new friends, experience something different, expand on his athleticism and on his mental toughness, on his, learning how to compete in different situations. That is a benefit of being here. And again, you don't have to be the star of everything, which is what's so beautiful about this individual, that he's got the one where he is, but others, he gets to play a role and be a part of it in that way. And it's a great experience, and it's humbling, and it really does help build the character of the student athletes that we're trying to build. And I try to bring, some examples of things that we can do, but we see it across the board. We see it across the board in different areas that, again, will really benefit what your kids can do and can accomplish here. Is a student athlete able to play both club and interscholastic sports? This is another interesting debate we go through a lot. And again, having been doing this a long time, you see everything. The reality is this: our primary interest, and this is where, I will say something which, in future conversations, we'll talk more about it. But our sports medicine program and our full-time athletic trainer, who has been here for a long time and has been a trainer for a long time and is incredible what she does. And the level of care, the amount of time that she puts in, what she would be telling you, she was answering this question was, look, number one is the health of that student athlete, right? Do we want them playing a club, a high school practice and going to club sport every night? No, those are decisions that are made at home. But we are here to provide what you need, because we're here to help support in any way possible. But again, at some point, what I've learned is that those serious athletes will go away from the club and really focus on body, health, strength, and all the things that we provide, and then get back into their primary sport and maybe play a second sport. We hear that a lot here is, kids that are doing too much all the time didn't work out that well. The kids that kind of followed the trajectory that's really available, they seem to do really well. I'm not here to determine that for you. I'm here to tell you, you have options, you have choices, and you will always have the support that you need. I coached for a long time. I coached in the world of basketball for a long time. I saw kids that would play AAU right after coming off practice, and it was hard. It was hard to see how difficult that was for them. And I saw the kids that trusted a process where maybe they would limit it. They would play their season, work on their bodies, go play in the summer, and then maybe go play another sport. There's a lot of different tracks we can go on. At the end of the day, we're here to support. And again, that's really important. These are conversations that we'll have that will help customize whatever we need to do to help your student athlete achieve the success that they want to achieve. I think that we're at the end of that part, so I will stop the share here. Get back to having Mr. Charles Sams on my screen. And again, I will throw it back to see if there are any questions or any thoughts that any of you might have. tonight. And again, you can contact us anytime here at the school. We can arrange to, to tour if you need to come see it. We can have another Zoom where we talk, include your children if they're not here today. But the point is we want to build those relationships with all of you and to answer questions that, really pertain to your individual and your overall experience. But I want you to once again, just hear me repeat a few things so you don't forget this when you're really thinking about this very important decision that you have to make. One of the differentiators is the level of academic support that the student athletes and all the students, but we're focused here tonight on the student athletes, will receive from our department, our school, and everything. Second, we do take an academic approach to our training, to our coaching, and to really the whole program. We really have a very strategic approach that we use here, and it's a very academic. And look, when you have a team like Mr. Sams and his group weekly working with our coaches to discuss their individual athletes, and really, I mean, it is a professional development that happens weekly here for everybody that serves the entire community. Our commitment to development starts at the very young age and goes all the way through to graduation. The development physically, the development mentally, and maybe the emphasis that we want to really leave you on is the development of the character of your student athlete. That is really significant. We are going to test them. We're going to work them. We're going to teach them about commitment. We're going to teach them about a work ethic. We're going to show them the reward that comes at the end of the day of doing things that not everybody wants to do, but those are the things that set you apart. This school does a lot in investing into the very best personnel that are will be with your kids, and in superior facilities that are constantly upgraded, analyzed, and looking at how we can continue to stay at the cutting edge of everything that we do here. Maybe the most unique part of it all is here, you, family, will have a direct say on the outcome. You will be part of every meeting, every conversation, every part of planning. It's not going to be something we assume for you. We're going to bring you in and include you in the entire process. That is what makes this maybe the most unique of all, is that it's not something that you just hand them off and say, we'll see you in 4 years or see you in 7 years. We're going to see you tomorrow, and we're going to continue to talk, and we're going to have open dialogue, and we're going to talk about the things that you want to accomplish here. And at the, on top of this entire thing is that when you have the leadership, and particularly a head of school that loves interscholastic sports, loves the effect that it has on the students here, on the community, the traditions that are created. I mean, this is an individual that, win or lose, is right there with these teams, right there to share with the glory and the heartbreak, but is proud of them no matter what they accomplish, because at the core of it is really about building them up. And that's what he's empowered us to do. That's what he's entrusted us to do. And that is what we are here to do as individuals and as a department. And again, we're excited and we're here to serve. And we have a tremendous passion for what we do and what we do here. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was a good starting point for you. And I hope we continue to hear from you. Let me take a quick peek in here, see if there are any questions. If there are none, that might mean that we've done a pretty good job. Any last comments, Mr. Sams?
Yes, again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to open up and ask us. And if not at this moment, feel free to send us the emails or contact us. We'll be more than happy to assist you in any kind of question or any inquiries that you may have.
So the last thing I will share is just one last little anecdote here that happened just a few weeks ago during, a very difficult time, but it was still very important. A student athlete signed her letter of intent here in our mall, outdoors, very socially distanced, with her Meadows mask on the stage. I mean, we were able to broadcast it for her family, but the story is this. This is someone who showed everybody the blueprint, her classmates, kids in other sports, everybody, how you do it. You don't have to be the elite athlete, the tallest, the strongest. You don't. What she said is you got to really commit and work and work and work. Work when you don't want to work when it's fun, take the losses and learn from them. She was such an example that it was so important for us because we've been watching her for a while, and so unassuming, not someone that is coming around here bragging about her successes. It's someone who's proud to represent her school and her sport, to do it as an individual, to show in the academics how hard you got to work, but how rewarding it is at the same time. To hear her teacher say she misses a lot of time because she travels to all these elite tournaments all over the country. But the one thing they said, she always gets her work done. We never have to go back to her and say, hey, where's your homework? It's done, because it's part of what you need, the skill set you need to become a great student athlete when you leave here. So I wanted to make sure that people know that that's what we're trying to create here. And this is someone that is such a role model here, going to a Division I school. Again, homegrown, worked hard, became a tremendous scholar, worked in it, did it all. And we're proud of her, and we hope that we have an opportunity to see your kids. I see a couple maybe comments here. Is this being sent to share to other parents? Yes, it will be. We've recorded it to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to see it. So again, please reach out to us. We're looking forward to talking to you. Have a great evening. Thank you, Mr. Sams. Good night.